stay focused. Don't listen to nobody. What's on your mind, just do it. Because what's destined for you, you gonna get it.
Hey, what's up guys? This time I have another reaction. One ex-Mafia boss versus 20 cops. This is on playlist crimes. I will put. Long time I don't react one.
Alright, my first surrounded claim is undercover sting operations often manufacture crime.
It's more like debate.
And I'm far away.
How do you
Nice to
do?
meet you. So, you believe that undercover
Michael Franzese is like one of the top families that got arrested. Even like create a YouTube and talk about even Mafia games, if you're realistic or not.
operations create crime?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the word entrapment. So, entrapment means that law enforcement officers are inducing a reasonable person who is not predisposed to a crime to commit a crime.
Well, what do you mean a reasonable person? No, in my experience, the undercover operations were either an undercover law enforcement person or somebody, a confidential informant that was put into that situation. That's not a fine, upstanding person, normally. The undercover agent, absolutely.
Okay.
But not that other person.
So, I've worked undercover. I've worked undercover in multiple situations.
You're a fine, upstanding person.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And looking at it from that perspective, if I was doing a prostitution sting, walking the streets, then people weren't predisposed to committing crime, they could keep driving or keep walking right by me.
Correct.
So the fact that I and my law enforcement agency created an arena for someone to make a decision does not mean that I manufactured crime for them. I did not force them to commit crime. They made that final decision.
I agree with that, and I believe that undercover sting operations are necessary.
Okay.
You know, to catch people that you suspect of being criminals. However, there are situations that I'm very familiar with where they will use another criminal, okay, to go into that, become a confidential informant, and he will help to manufacture a crime by getting people to say things that they wouldn't have ordinarily said, put them in a situation, bring them a criminal activity of some point and put them into it. So yeah, because they don't know what this other person is doing. I give you an example. Michael Franzese, we know he's an organized crime guy. We got our informants told us that, but we haven't been able to catch him in a crime. So let's send somebody in there and see if they can create something to put him involved in. And then we have our crime. That's done.
It is,
Yeah.
but sending someone in like a confidential informant, there's also a lot of controls that are on the law enforcement side.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that person is wired or there is an infiltration of a law enforcement officer on, you know, as part of the act, they're still not causing crime to be manufactured. It's all being done rightfully by the suspect.
I
Nah,
can't
but I
agree
think
with
he's not the
I
same.
cannot. When you wire up a confidential informant, and that informant brings criminal activity to that other person, because that's the person that's the subject of the sting operation, that's entrapment as far as I'm concerned, because that wouldn't have happened if your confidential informant didn't go in and manufacture that crime. They're bringing him the crime. He's part of that criminal activity.
Understood.
And
But
why
if
should-
you didn't want to commit that crime, you wouldn't have to. You could walk away. You could be like, you know what? I don't want to do this robbery.
Like making a crime is an option, but somebody undercover say, hey, let's do some dumb shit, and the guy's undercover just to bait and get arrested, bruh.
That's
Tonight,
true.
I don't want to put a
Even if there's an
amount
option.
of money on someone's head. I can just walk away.
Absolutely. And if
Shouldn't
you do,
give
you're
an
not
option to
entrapped.
them
But if you do
to
it,
do
then
it.
you are entrapped. And that's what the confidential informant is supposed to do, entrap you.
I understand what you're saying, but you just made my argument. So if you could walk away from that, and if you walk away from that, it's not entrapment. You're not getting involved
That's
in
a
a criminal
threat. For
activity.
me, it's a threat.
Where
That's
if you
correct.
stay involved in it, you were predisposed to move forward with that crime regardless.
Because
So
they
it's
create
not
that
entrapment
option.
either.
Well, I disagree with that. I think, because it would have never happened if you didn't put, if law enforcement didn't put their CI in there to try to entrap that guy, then there would have been no crime.
Yeah.
But if the person they were trying to entrap, let's say it's you, if you were going in with a clean conscience, not wanting to commit crime at all, then it wouldn't matter who they put in there.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you're still creating the crime. Law enforcement is creating the crime through their confidential informant. Because it would have never happened if that confidential informant, if he never met him, then there would be no crime.
So the confidential informant comes in saying, I want to do XYZ crime, you can still walk away.
You can, and then there's no entrapment. But there wouldn't have been anything at all if your guy didn't come in. He wouldn't have had
Entrapment because it's a trap.
Because there wouldn't have been
So
anything
you're saying you would never have committed a crime no matter what it was if there wasn't a confidential informant that came in?
I'm not saying, no, but here's what I'm saying. Then get him for that crime. Then the government didn't push that, the government didn't create it, the government didn't manufacture it, he did it on his own. You have every right to get him at that point.
The government provided an opportunity, and
Yeah.
the person can decide whether or not to take that opportunity.
That's correct. That's correct. But let me ask you a question. Here's somebody here, just he's broke, he's got no money. No money at all. Never committed a crime in his life. Innocent guy, okay, can't put food on his table. You don't like that guy. You know what? I don't like him. I don't know what to do. He's not a criminal, but I'm going to send somebody in there and give him some incentive. I'm going to send somebody in there to talk to this guy to tell him, listen, I have this jewelry store that we can rob. Don't worry about it. Inside job. Nobody's going to know anything. Okay, but come with me. We'll do it. Now you can put food on the table. So you created a crime. You manufactured a crime for a guy that never was in trouble in his life.
He may never have been in trouble in his life, but if he wasn't already thinking that he could get away with that crime or commit that crime, he would say no.
You can't lock somebody up for their what
That's
they
being
think. I may
desperate,
think you're
look.
committing. I may want to rob Brink's truck, but I'm not going to do it.
Of course.
So
This is
you can't get mad at me for what I'm thinking.
No, that's manufacturing a crime. Like, I don't like that guy. You know he's desperate. Put him to rob something or jewelry. It's manufacturing, like creating an option.
But if he doesn't move
Even if he never did the crime.
forward with robbing that jewelry store,
But
then there's no
You're not
crime.
understanding. You didn't understand what I said. You didn't like that guy. He wasn't a criminal. You just didn't like him.
Yeah.
But I can't do anything about it. But I'm law enforcement. I have a tool. I have a weapon. I have a CI. I'm going to send him in there. I'm going to bait this guy into committing a crime.
I love that you think there's enough time and staff to be able to screw people over.
In the world of organized crime, okay, they get all the money, all the resources. Let me tell you something.
my
During my
God.
time in organized crime, we had 750 made guys that comprised all 5 families. We had 1,400 agents, 2 agents to every 1 guy. They had plenty of time. That's what they get paid for. They have plenty of time, and they put a lot of effort into it, and they put a lot of guys. They destroyed my former life. They have all the
Former
time in
life.
the world when they want to. I'm not saying you do or anybody else in this room. I'm telling you my experience. And let me tell you something. I had a lot more respect at that time for police. They were doing their job. I understand that. People say to me, Michael, now, you got to hate the police. I said, no, I don't hate the police. I have a wife. I have 5 daughters. I have grandkids. When they walk down the street, I want the police to protect them. I support the police, but I don't support the underhanded stuff.
Even
that
if
was done,
ex
and that
Mafia
continues
supports
to
the
be done.
police.
I'm sorry. I think the defund the
Because it's
police
like this
movement-
time who's gonna protect his family if he's not the cop? Random is not going to do that.
is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I'm totally against that. But I'm totally against law enforcement using tactics and weapons to get people that they shouldn't be doing. They have to play by the rules, period, or we have anarchy.
You're right, and they do play by the rules.
No, they
Because
don't.
providing a criminal opportunity does not force someone to commit a crime. And if that person is
Creating
getting
an opportunity
lured
to
into the
make a crime.
because they don't have enough
No, you create the option to do a crime. Like what? Just because you think
mental
he's a
fortitude
criminal.
to say no to something, that's not law
But
enforcement's
you
fault.
can't lock somebody up for their mentality.
But if they move
They
forward
have to
with
commit
it.
the crime.
If the confidential informant gets them to move forward and commit the crime,
Well, did they manufacture that crime then? Yes or no?
absolutely not.
There was no crime until law enforcement put the guy there to make the crime.
And the person they wanted to arrest could have said no.
I understand, but there would have been nothing to say no to if the government didn't put that crime in front of them. So they manufactured it. There was no crime before that.
Okay, pause. Been voted out with the majority. Please return to your seats.
You are fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
What took you guys so long?
And
Got it. How are you?
Nice meeting you.
We're both New York guys. We're adults, right? We make our own decisions.
Correct.
Now, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 99.999% of undercover stings aren't just us being like, John Doe, you want a sawed-off shotgun? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not how it is.
I agree.
We already probably have dirt on you in some facet, right?
Oh, you think you do? Yeah.
Either way, sure, fair. All right, fair, fine. So we're gonna set up a 20-man team, audio, video, all this stuff just for a random dude?
No.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my point.
No, no, but what's the difference? Let's put out a name that everybody knows. Let's say it's John Gotti. We know that John Gotti is the boss of the Gambino family. We'd love to see him in jail.
Okay.
But we don't know what he's doing at this point. So we have to figure it out. So let's get a confidential informant, okay, wire him up or do whatever it is that you do, and put him with John Gotti and try to bait John Gotti into doing something, whatever it might be, so that we can get something on him. Tell me you're not manufacturing that. No.
He's still in the crime family. He's still running the mob. Like, it doesn't matter.
Being in the crime family is not a crime.
So, sure. Yes, I understand that. No.
I think it's the same as a gang. Like being on a gang or being on a mob family is not a crime. It's more like doing the illegal things. That's a crime.
For sure,
Okay,
yeah. But
so?
if you still put a CI in the room with him, he's like, hey, boss, you want to commit murder today? He's going to be like, actually, no, we're going to pass on that. Like, no, he's still going to do the crimes he's doing. Now, we just have an insight.
They don't have a proof that the guy, you know, like, hey, he's a mob, he's gonna kill this and that, crime this and that, but they have no proof. So they wire and create a situation they can make him, put him in jail. But that's manufacturing.
I
But you
to
don't-
wire
but
that up.
This
But you
bait.
don't know that. You don't know
That's
that.
the point of the undercover sting. It's part of it.
Exactly, but you're manufacturing that particular crime. You are
He
creating
could say,
that
if he's
crime.
some
Doesn't
no
matter.
one's gonna tell the boss of the Gotti crime, the crime family to say what he's gonna do.
You're not understanding. There still was no crime. You're creating a particular crime by bringing that confidential informant into him and giving him a situation, a criminal situation that you're hoping he bites into. If there was no confidential informant, there's no crime. So you manufactured that
He's
situation.
not making him do anything. he can easily be like, we're not doing that today.
He can.
Right.
He can say no, but I'm going to say the same thing that I said to that young lady. He wouldn't have to say no if you didn't manufacture something for him to say no
He also doesn't have
to.
to say yes. This is a
But
circle.
it doesn't matter. No, because
You need to manufacture it because they have no proof.
do confidential informants manufacture crimes? The answer is yes. You're just agreeing with me because yes, he's bringing a criminal situation to John Gotti that didn't exist before. If another criminal came to me and said, Michael, let's do this crime together, and I did it, okay, I did it. But if the government sent that guy in there, then the government is
No,
manufacturing
because
that
you
crime.
still have free will, and you could be like, no.
But
It doesn't matter.
You're right. But there would be
Right.
no crime if the government didn't make that happen.
But why you
You're
create
bringing
a
that
crime?
to bear.
Saying yes, and again, we would already have something on you, or think we have something on you.
Think
You're not
that the-
sure,
no, no,
no, for sure.
no,
You're not a
think you
random
have
person.
something
Is
on
my
you.
point.
Doesn't matter if you're random or not. Everybody has the same rights.
Yeah.
If you're alleged to be a criminal, but you didn't commit a crime, you still have rights as an American citizen.
For sure.
So it doesn't matter what you think, doesn't matter, or what you suppose, doesn't matter. You could say, yeah, John Gotti's doing a million different things. We don't know what they are, but let's get somebody to do something so that we do know what it is. You're manufacturing that crime. It didn't exist before.
No.
Pause. You've been voted
Oh,
out.
all right. Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Fellow New Yorker, thank you.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
I love that you brought up the Gambino family. One, because there was more to it than I guess was just discussed before, right? So we talk about Joey V. Joey's the one who took them down. He was pulled over and he was in possession of a large amount of cocaine, right? So that's how he was located. And then I think the word that you're using, manufacturing, I kind of understand where you're coming from. You're saying that we're being a part of something that is criminal, so therefore we're helping to manufacture it. When in reality, what it is we're going in there. And so we talk about one of the captains of the Gambino family who had a construction company, racketeering, fraud, all of those things, tax evasion, all the things. So when we're sending in an informant, we're looking for those things. We're not necessarily committing a crime also alongside the people who are already engaged in criminal activity.
No, you're not committing
Informant is
you're
almost a spy.
manufacturing the crime.
But if we're finding evidence by utilizing an undercover detective or a corroborating witness, we're not engaging in criminal activity, we're locating criminal activity that's already in place.
Or by bringing that confidential informant in, you manufacturing it, as far as I'm concerned, because it wasn't there before this particular informant brought it to the alleged defendant or perpetrator, let's put it that way.
Okay, so let's
No,
use your example.
that's
I pull somebody over, and we're going to go into narcotics. We're not even going to necessarily talk about
I
organized
disagree with
crime
that.
in a mafia family. But I pull over somebody, and I pull
Putting
them over.
a
They're like,
spy
"Yeah,
there
I
is
can't go
not-
to jail again. I can't go to jail." And we know that they're a lower level, holder, or maybe even a seller, and we want the big person. There's already a relationship there where criminal activity is already occurring. Otherwise, we're not getting someone in the door, right? So if I pulled somebody over from your family or your ex-family, and
I was a Colombo guy, by the way, but I was very familiar with the Gambino.
No, I know. I'm pretty familiar with the Gambino family. I'm a Jersey girl, by the way. But
I could tell.
so,
Straightforward.
yeah. So what I'm saying is, if I'm building a corroborating witness or a confidential informant, and I utilize that person into an investigation, there's already a relationship there based on the criminal activity that's happened. There's already things that they're bringing to the table to make sure that I understand their why, as whether or not I can even use them, right? Reliable or not, nobody's reliable fully, so I need other things to show me that I'm gonna be able to have the evidence to move forward. So I'm not always asking somebody to commit a crime with somebody in order to be a part of a manufacturing of whatever crime. I'm looking for the evidence, whether it's going in there and it's looking at your books, or sitting in on a dinner where there's conversations being had that can corroborate the information that we believe we already have. It's not going to be like, hey, I know, and you used Gotti as the example. So I know that Gotti's the boss. I'm not going to just manufacture something. I'm gonna start doing surveillance. I'm gonna watch criminal activity take place. I'm gonna utilize that to build probable cause.
Yeah, you're bringing together the totality of the tools that you have, the
Right.
weapons that you have to investigate this crime.
Correct.
Nothing wrong with that. I get it. I mean,
But that's what a CI or an undercover is going to help me do as well.
yes.
It's after those things that I just talked to you about are starting to form, or at least that's how an investigation goes in Jersey that I've been a part of. We're utilizing all those things to come together and then use that CI to go in and witness criminal activity that's already taking place in a criminal environment. It's
Okay.
not something we're already manufacturing.
Let me give you an example. I was a subject of an undercover operation. It was me and Don King.
Okay.
The government was trying to allege and prove that organized crime was involved in professional boxing. So they had an undercover informant and an FBI agent that went on, undercover, and they were with me for 8 or 9 months. Now, I was not involved in this organized crime being involved in professional boxing, but I was a target. They believed that they can get to me to try to prove their case. It never happened. I was never involved in it. But for 8 months, they tried to get me involved in criminal activity and infiltrate me and Don King. They tried to get me to get Don King to take a bribe and all this kind of stuff. We didn't go for it, and the investigation went down. If they would have got me to go along with it, they manufactured it.
They were trying to look to get you to fit the crime that they wanted because they
Correct.
couldn't get you somewhere else.
Correct.
I can understand where your point is coming from. You're saying that we're manufacturing the crime by bringing you in and building that relationship. But again, to go back, you still say yes or no to it. We're giving you the opportunity to say yes or no. And you're saying you said no.
Yeah, but I would have had nothing to say no to if the government didn't try to trap me into it. They actually tried to lay a trap for me to get involved.
And they didn't. So you're saying the criminal justice system worked for you.
I guess.
Because that's what it is, right? It's a
Work,
justice system for criminals.
You could
Nothing
say I
to
got lucky,
arrest
I
him.
got- Whatever. I didn't bite.
He said no because he had
I
no.
almost did. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not that brilliant. I almost did.
Even if he had or not involved on the boxing matches, he's like,
But I didn't.
Then the cops say yes or no, you are involved or not, because you're going to say no.
But I would have had
But
nothing.
trying to force somebody to say yes, even if you didn't do nothing, that's also manufacturing.
To say no to if they didn't manufacture the crime.
Okay, pause, we're out of time.
If you understand my point.
I do.
Okay.
I don't
Thank-
agree, but I
Oh,
understand.
it's okay. You understand. Thank you. My next surrounded claim is that law enforcement believes it's okay to violate the law in order to arrest the lawbreakers.
Oh, those are the heroes. You need to break the law to arrest the criminals. The guys that have to be heroes.
Nice to meet you.
I want to start with a question. How many cases as a law enforcement officer have you worked?
Have I worked as a law enforcement?
Yes.
None.
Okay. My point is, you don't know the ins and outs from our perspective of how much work, time away from our family, effort to get a good case that's going to stick. You think we want to mess all that work up by breaking the law? I mean, you would understand that would seem very foolish, right?
No, not, if your name is John Gotti, Sonny Franzese, Michael Franzese, Fat Tony Salerno, Joe Colombo, no, I don't think that's unreasonable that law enforcement would break the law in order to catch somebody that they think is a name like that. I've seen it happen.
And in what ways have you seen it happen?
By suborning perjury, by holding back exculpatory material at a trial, by FBI agents coercing people into testifying, coercing people into going undercover against people. I've seen that my whole life.
And listen, I mean, we can't speak on definites, right? Like I've always taught my kids, any sentence that you start with, like everyone, all, nobody, never, the next thing you say is going to be a lie, okay? So are there cops that have broken the law, jeopardizing cases that they have worked very, very hard for? Of course.
Thank you.
But
You just made my point.
no, I know, but
Like,
it's not
what
a
is always-
definitive, right? And I would say the
What?
vast
You just made my
majority,
point, though.
the vast majority of police officers, they're not doing that because
totally
of
agree with you.
the amount of work. But of course,
I
we're gonna
agree
agree that
with
it
that.
does happen. There's too many people.
We're already agreeing,
Say
like,
it
what?
never happens. I don't think that's the claim. The claim makes it seem more like it happens more than it does not happen, and that's just absolutely wrong.
I think it depends upon who the targets are. Certain law enforcement people build their careers on the names of people that they go after. Certainly with John Gotti, certainly with my dad, Sonny Franzese, with me to a certain extent.
Yeah.
You have to admit that big names give people in law enforcement an incentive to work a little bit harder to bring them down because you get rewarded for that.
Because what comes with those big names?
A reward if you convict
Many
them.
victims, right?
A reward if you convict them, yes or no?
A reward
Yes
if
or
you
no?
convict them, a reward for a job well done for anybody. But
Okay.
big
Oh,
names
thank you.
equal many victims. I think that's the point that we're missing here. Because a local street dealer, may affect 20, 30, 50, 100 lives, right? But John Gotti's affecting hundreds. Would John Gotti affect the same amount of people and, same amount of victims as the lower level guy in the family? Probably not, right? Like,
No,
there's a
no,
reason
no.
why John Gotti became the boss, right?
Let me tell you something. Most of the time, the informants that are going against the big guys, they're the ones that are doing most of the crime.
I think to stick to the point at hand, to say that no police officer has ever broken the law.
Put the informant there on organized crime. The informant also gonna make some crimes if he's involved.
Jeopardizing their case, that would be
He's like, you're with us, but why are you doing the dumb shit with us? Makes no sense. Are you a cop?
foolish. I would never say that, right? Because again, there's too many variables. But the way that the claim states makes it seem almost like it's common practice. It's just not true.
Let me make it clear right now. I hope to believe that most law enforcement people are on the level. I have many friends in law enforcement now. The guy that was trying to put me away forever on that undercover sting operation became one of my best friends. Now, he's back in New York. Joe Spinelli was the head of the FBI. Good guy.
There's a mutual respect there. That
Mutual
develops.
respect, yes. He came after me, did it the right way. Listen, we told people all the time, FBI agents, you come and get me. Just don't frame me
Right.
and don't harass my family. That's it, because we're not going to do that to you, don't do it to us. So I want to believe that most people in law enforcement are straight up and they do their job, yes. But come on, you said it and you know it. There's many times, depending upon
The
who that
bad
person
apples.
is, that they will violate the law or they will stretch because it puts a feather in their cap, they get promoted, whatever. And I know so many people, they convict this guy, they become a federal judge the next day. Come on, it happens. Not all the time, but absolutely it does.
Oh, this is more for greed. Like to catch a big fish. So a cop gets promoted to a federal judge or whatever, even if he breaks the law to get it.
Yep.
Okay. Tom, how are you?
Well, you've told us a little bit about yourself. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I spent 23 years as an FBI agent, all in Los Angeles, so I have no personal experience of working in New York as an agent, and I never worked organized crime.
Do you know Scott Garriola?
Yeah, very well.
Good friend.
Yeah, well, very good. I was married to a cop for many years, LAPD. I've known hundreds of police officers and worked with hundreds and agents. And your general statement is that law enforcement believes, it's a pretty broad statement, that it's okay to break the law to get the lawbreaker. And I disagree.
Because you're
with
talking
that.
in general.
You're describing an
If you
FBI
said like
that I
some-
don't recognize. Well, I'm not going to argue with your experience, but in the Bureau,
Have you been paying attention to the FBI today?
I have been.
Okay. Will you agree that they've been breaking the law?
No.
Do you won't agree to that? Today's,
I'm
well, not today.
I'm
The FBI of the last administration has not been breaking the law, doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
No, I disagree with you vehemently on that.
The Biden administration FBI, you say, has been totally above board. Comey has been totally above board.
I am not going to go into some broad political
I'm not being
discussion
broad,
with
I'm
you.
being factual. You believe that James Comey has not broken the law, has not been, you think he's been an honest and upright and law-abiding FBI agent.
I think James Comey was a good director of the FBI while he was the director. I think he operated with integrity and honor,
We disagree.
and he was widely respected while he was director. Do I think he may have made some mistakes of judgment along the way? Yes, I could say.
Mistakes of
Why
judgment.
did he allow Hillary Clinton to smash her, no, excuse me, I would have went to jail for that, and so would everybody in this room. Why would he allow Hillary Clinton to smash all of her computers and everything that she had information on and not indict her for obstruction of justice?
My understanding of that case is that she was not indicted because they could not prove a criminal intent. Now, earlier
She
today,
admitted that they whitewashed her computers and everything else, all the information that she had in there. She broke her phones and everything else. She admitted to it. She did it.
your argument earlier is that law enforcement will break the law to break lawbreakers, to
Some of
catch
them.
lawbreakers. That's not my experience. My experience of the FBI is for every investigative technique, I had to get approval at every step of the way. Let's take a trash cover. For the audience, a trash cover is when law enforcement picks up the trash that somebody puts out on the street. I don't need a search warrant for that. But the FBI requires that I get approval from my supervisor in writing and articulate why I'm going to conduct this operation, what's the purpose of it, and then I have to document the results.
Have you
That's
been, are you
just-
familiar with an FBI agent named Linda Vecchio?
No.
Okay.
Is
He
she?
was indicted for murder, four murders, because he worked
I
with
think
a
more of your
confidential-
guys than my guys have been indicted for murder.
Absolutely, because we were criminals, but the FBI is supposed to be
Yes, you
fine,
were. You were
upstanding.
criminal.
He's talking like he's working the same job. Bro. Like, you work. Bro, what? Want a guy from FBI murders people? And the guy said, "You also did, but we are criminals. You're the FBI. Why are you killing, bro?"
Board. Comey has been totally above board.
I am not going to go into some broad political
I'm not being
discussion.
broad,
with
I'm
you.
being factual. You believe that James Comey has not broken the law, has not been, you think he's been an honest and upright and law-abiding FBI agent.
I think James Comey was a good director of the FBI while he was the director.
Wait, what?
While he was director.
Smash
bad.
her, no,
Racist
and
He was not
PC.
indicted because they could not prove a criminal intent. Now, earlier
She
today,
admitted that they whitewashed her computers and everything else, all the information that she had in there. She broke her phones and everything else. She admitted to it. She did it.
your argument earlier is that law enforcement will break the law to break lawbreakers, to
Some of
catch
them.
lawbreakers. That's not my experience. My experience of the FBI is for every investigative technique, I had to get approval at every step of the way. Let's take a trash cover. For the audience, a trash cover is when law enforcement picks up the trash that somebody puts out on the street. I don't need a search warrant for that. But the FBI requires that I get approval from my supervisor in writing and articulate why I'm going to conduct this operation, what's the purpose of it, and then I have to document the results.
Have you
That's
been, are you
just-
familiar with an FBI agent named Lynn DeVecchio?
Lindevio.
Okay. He
No.
was
Lynn
indicted
De-
for murder,
That-
4 murders, because he worked
I
with
think
a
more of your
confidential-
guys than my guys have been indicted for murder.
Absolutely, because we
That
were
it-
criminals, but the FBI is supposed to
Yes,
be
you
fine,
were. You were
upstanding
criminals.
citizens that took an oath to protect people. But we were criminals. I'll admit to that. We didn't take an oath to abide by the law
That's a shot.
at all.
Like,
But FBI agents do. And I'm
the FBI took oath to protect people, then they're killing.
not saying, I want to make it clear. I'm not saying this. I'm not throwing a blanket over everybody.
Of
There
course
a lot
you are.
No, I'm not. There are a lot of good.
You just
decent
make a
FBI
broad
agents.
statement that the FBI committed crimes during the Biden administration, that Comey
No, I
committed
said James
crimes.
Comey did. James Comey did. 100% he did. James Comey absolutely did. I don't throw a blanket over everybody. Absolutely not. But there were certain FBI agents that did not uphold the law.
I get that. Now let's
Okay.
wind this back. a
That's all
little
I
bit.
needed to hear.
You have a certain view of the Comey years and that period. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not going
Thank
to
you.
argue that with you. But I am here to tell you, as from my perspective, from my personal experience as an agent, that we want to get the bad guy, yes, but we don't think it's okay to break the law and do bad things to do it. Now, can there be a problem? Absolutely. I know of cases where officers and agents, or to use an example of the FBI, we had a situation where someone in the lab was maybe shading his or her analysis
All right,
to
let-
favor the
let-
prosecutor.
let me
Allow
ask you
me to
this.
finish. I listened to you
Okay,
very
go ahead.
patiently. So there is absolutely a risk that anyone in law enforcement could lose sight of their ethics and their values, and that is very much the responsibility of the agency and the leadership and the management to create the culture that says, no, to go to one of the points you made.
He's not realizing he's snitching. Most of the law enforcement are not ethic. Try to. What he said after.
Now let's
Okay.
wind this back.
That's
a little
all I
bit.
needed.
You're entitled to your opinion, perspective. From my want to get the bad guy is to do it. Officers and agents, and or to use an example of the FBI, we had a situation with
Yes, it-
someone in the lab.
Moving on the
was
lab,
maybe
like
shading his or her analysis
shading
to
a
favor the
ADN
prosecutor.
ADN
Allow
or
me to finish.
another.
I listened to you
Okay.
very patiently. So there is absolutely a risk that anyone in law enforcement
Bro, like,
could lose sight of their
yeah,
ethics
he's
and
helping
their
what he's saying.
values. And that is very much the responsibility of the agency and the leadership and the management to create the culture that says, no, to go to one of the points you made earlier, hey, you don't mind getting caught if you're caught when law enforcement plays by the rules. What I'm trying to tell you is that as an agent, your friend Scott Garriola,
Great guy.
great guy. He played by the rules. The
100%.
agents that I've worked with played by the rules. Do we make mistakes? Yes.
Okay,
Are
but
there mistakes of judgment? Allow me to finish. Yes.
I understand where you're going, but I have a very important question.
Go ahead.
Can you sit there and tell me that you have 100% belief that no agent will violate the law or do something unscrupulous to catch a lawbreaker?
That would be an absurd statement to make.
Why
There
is it
could be no
absurd? I'm
claim.
asking you a question. You're saying that in your experience, every agent that takes that oath abides by the oath 100%.
What I am telling you
Yes or
is
no?
that the FBI, like any other organization, every law enforcement, your organization, you guys violated your oath or you
We're
wouldn't be
criminals.
here.
roads, they're criminals.
We're
What?
criminals.
It's so
You
sad.
guys compare us
It's like to compare if I.
compare us to the
I'm
FBI.
not
We're in a
comparing.
lot of trouble.
I'm not comparing. What I'm talking about is human nature. Are there human beings that are imperfect? Of course they are. It's no great debating
That's
point
not
to
the
say,
question.
stop.
That's not
It's
the
no great
question.
debating point
That's
to
not
say,
the question.
oh, you guys, you had this guy who did this. Of
The
course.
cops
That's not the
wants to
question.
yell.
I asked you a simple question. Do you believe that every FBI agent in the Bureau does things 100% ethically all the time and they will not stretch it in order to catch a perpetrator? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Actually, yes.
That is what.
Already said
way
like
that
examples
question
of
is
yes.
framed,
It's a yes or no.
It is, there's no way anybody could answer,
Why
oh,
not?
I believe every agent is perfect.
Why not? I can
Nonsense.
tell you people in my organization that violated certain things, they did it, that they didn't do it.
Look,
And I'll tell you, if you ask me that
what I
question, I
can
would say no.
speak to, what I can speak to
Okay.
is what I was taught in the academy. I can speak to the standards my supervisors held me to. I can speak to how my management behaved. I can speak to the attitude of the agents I worked with. In theory, I have known.
You've never heard of any agent that violated their ethical
Of course
standard?
I have. I
Okay,
worked for one.
well, that's it.
I had a supervisor who had an improper relationship with an informant, and it caused a lot of damage.
Okay.
So to say that is to say, wow, we have to hire human beings for this job.
It's
No
just,
kidding.
It's just what I said. There are
What
certain
the
agents that will
important thing for
violate
the
their
public-
ethics to catch the
The
lawbreaker.
thing that I want you to listen to, as I've listened to you, and I want the audience to hear, is that the organization that I work for, which is made up of thousands of human beings who have all the flaws of every person, but the organizational culture that I was raised in, that I served, put a premium on integrity and doing the right thing. Are there agents that
And I
give,
believe
are
you.
there
No,
agents? Yeah,
I'm gonna
okay,
agree.
all right.
I believe you.
Well,
And I
good.
think that you're sincere in that regard. But can I
He's
ask
trying
you
to
a question?
defend them by
Why
human
is it
beings.
that everyone, all of America
mistake.
practically, has no trust in the FBI right now. No
People don't trust
in
the
our
cops
government
because some
agencies.
are
Many people
bad
have
app.
lied to Americans about the
Exactly.
FBI and about its actions
They've
and
watched,
have
they've
mischaracterized.
observed the FBI.
They have
They've
mischaracterized.
observed, there's a different, not people lying. They've observed the FBI. Let me tell you now, I like Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino, I know him. Very ethical, good guy with integrity. I'm so happy that he's the deputy director of the FBI because he has integrity. I can't say that for the last people, and all of America, a good portion of America believes the same thing because of their actions.
Actually, I think it's because they're being lied to
By who?
frequently by figures in the media.
By who?
Well, you're doing it
I'm
right
not
now.
lying. No, I'm not lying, sir. I'm telling you the truth based upon my experience.
What do you know about the Clinton case? You've recited a bunch of factually incorrect statements
They're not
already.
incorrect. Tell me how I'm wrong. Tell me how I'm wrong about Hillary Clinton.
You're representing that somehow the FBI knew that she'd obstructed justice.
Comey
If we
did it.
could have proven criminal intent, an intent to violate the law, she would have been charged.
You're needing to tell me that in
It's the same reason why other people aren't
You need to tell
charged.
me in the Biden administration, they would have went after Hillary Clinton. Biden would have allowed the FBI, and Comey would have went after Hillary Clinton.
You have a
believe
belief
that?
about
No,
the
I'm sorry.
FBI and the Department of Justice that somehow the Biden administration was dictating to the FBI what to do.
Absolutely.
That's not the
There was
bureau that
politics.
I work
The Bureau
for.
became too political on a national level. I'm not on a local level, maybe not here in L.A.
I
but the
disagree with
belief-
that. I believe that that has been alleged repeatedly till it's an urban legend that people
No, you
believe.
can see it. The FBI has been politicized during the Biden administration. I wish they weren't. Comey was totally politicized. Absolutely. What they did to, look, let me tell you this. I'm not, Donald Trump, I think he's a good president, and I want him there because the last one would have been a disaster. America would have been, I don't know where we would have been right now, but I'll tell you right now, okay, there's no question that Comey was politicized to do what they did to that man.
To do what they did to which one?
Trump.
Trump?
Come on.
Well, I disagree with you.
Really?
I do.
Okay,
I'll stop here.
you got it.
Back to your seat. We're
To
gonna
another
continue. We
time,
have 5
maybe.
more minutes